nCloth is a rather large subject to get into, and I do not have enough time in these little short videos to get too deep into something like that. However, I would like to show one really cool use for the tool as a modeler. I'm not really into animation and dynamics that much, but I have found that sometimes if I need a cloth shape, it's easier to make it from a cloth-like object. So, let's say I want to put a tablecloth on this table. Well, I will start by creating the cloth. Just made a plane. I'll lift this up, make that big enough to go over my table. And in order for this to act like cloth and bend around the edges, I need to make sure I've got enough geometry in this to do that. So I'll go to my subdivision width and height. Let's try 50 by 50. Honestly, I think I'm going to need more than that. Let's try 100 by 100. That might be enough. Next, I'm currently in my modeling menu set. So I'm going to change this to my FX menu set. And then I will see up here nCloth, nHair, nConstraint, nCache. N in this case is short for nucleus. What that means is all these different dynamics tools have a central engine that drives them. That's called the nucleus. And it's not like the n-gons that I've mentioned in the past. And in that case, just a random number. In this case, n means nucleus. So I'm going to go to my nCloth right here. And you can see right here, I've got create passive collider and create nCloth. Well, if I go to create nCloth on this plane right here, it's going to turn this plane into nCloth. I want to make sure I've got enough frames down here to actually see something happen. You can see I've got almost around 2,000. Yeah, I've got 2,000 frames. So if I hit play, it's going to start calculating what this does as it falls towards the ground. And that's what it does. It just falls. Problem is that this is not set up to collide with it. This is cloth, but this is just a random object. So go back to nCloth and tell this to be a passive collider. And now if I hit play, it has to start doing some calculations because it's got stuff happening. This will go through it and calculate quietly in the background. I will not display this until I stop it, go back, and hit play. See this little red line down there you can just barely make out? It's still trying to play it, but it can't because this little red line isn't there yet. Go back again. And as this little red line goes forwards, it gives us more frames that we can look at. If I scrub through this, you can see it's actually gotten pretty far along. Matter of fact, I think this cloth might be too big. If I go back to the beginning again, I can shrink this a little bit, and the red line goes away. It has to recalculate everything it just did. And I'll wait till it gets back up to 100 again. And with any luck, this time, it won't go through the ground. Go. Now it's going to continue wiggling back and forth for a little while. But if, say, I was happy with this shape right there, I don't have to wait until it's calculated all 2,000 frames. It turns out that's way more than I need to get this end result. Instead, I can select it, and I'm going to duplicate this object, Control D. I move this around, you can see this is a separate object now, and this one is not animating. I can select my nCloth, delete that, go back to my table, nCloth. I can remove the nCloth from it. In this case, it is just a passive, but it's still got the nCloth settings in there. Put this back where it was. Oops. There you go. And now we've got a tablecloth. And because we started with a square, if I were to put a new material on this, with, let's say, a checkerboard texture, the texture follows with the shape of a real piece of cloth. This is the nucleus right here. I don't need it anymore. I can delete that as well. And that's how I do a really quick tablecloth in Maya, without having to physically figure out how to model all these ripples myself.